Hello, welcome to part 1 of What If Deku Had Cremation. And this is just so everyone knows. Deku's going to have a quirk called Cremation, which is a very strong fire quirk. In fact, its default setting is blue flames, the hottest there is. And it's not like Darby, where his quirk is made for an ice quirk, so there's no scarring or terrible burning that will happen. He can handle his quirk to an extent. Also, back ago we called Katsuki and Todoroki, because these two will be girls in this What If. Got a problem? Piss off. If not, you're welcome to stay, and yeah. Anyway, let's start. Okay. So it's obviously going to start when Deku is born. When Deku was young and first born, he was born without a quirk like everyone else, until he turns 4 years old, and about to go to sleep when his pillow lit ablaze, turning to ash. Deku, confused, runs to his mother to tell his mother that he thinks he got his quirk, and that the pillow turned to dust as Inko took him to the quirk doctor to see what quirk Deku is exactly. So Deku's so excited, he couldn't control himself from bouncing his head up and down, waiting for the results. The doctor coming back, shocked, and telling Inko and Izuku that Izuku has a very strong fire quirk, which they named Cremation, as the doctor had actually seen this type of quirk before, from the number 2 hero's eldest son. In fact, the doctor asked Inko what quirks she and his father have. She replies with telling the doctor that Inko has telekinesis, but only where she can move small objects towards herself, and Hisashi, aka Deku's father, fire breathing. The doctor confused, saying, but that doesn't make sense. Are you sure Hisashi is the boy's father? Inko getting quite upset with the doctor for even suggesting such a thing, whilst she says that there's no way, I can't even believe you would say such a thing. The doctor apologised and asked for 2 of them to wait in the room for him to return, as the doctor calls Endeavour, telling him to come down to the office. Endeavour agreeing, in a bad mood for being disrupted in the middle of his daily patrol. Before Endeavour arrives, Deku asks Inko if he has a strong quirk. Inko replying, yes dear, very strong. Stronger than Endeavour's the number 2 hero. Deku jumping in excitement and awe. Super excited. Inko replying, Excited he couldn't control his excitement, as eventually, after around 15 minutes, Endeavour showed up in the office, asking in an angry tone of voice what it is that the doctor needs. The doctor telling him that this boy has a similar quirk, if not exact match, to his eldest son, Toya. Endeavour, curious of this, asked Deku to show him his quirk. Deku trying his best to produce a flame in his hand, when a small blue flame shows in Izuku's hand. Endeavour surprised and telling the kid that he'd be a great hero one day. Inko and Izuku shocked that the number 2 hero complimented her son, and then Izuku asking if he can get Endeavour's autograph. Endeavour agreeing and signing Deku's notepad. Afterwards, Endeavour walking out of the doctor's office. Skip to the next day of... This is a skip to the next day of preschool. Okay. So the next day of preschool, Izuku telling everyone he got his quirk and met Endeavour, and that he complimented his quirk, saying I'd be a great hero one day. With everyone in disbelief, not believing Deku. They kind of have the attitude like, alright, sure. When Katsuki asked Deku what quirk he had, Deku replying with standing on the table and conjuring a pale blue flame, most of the kids feeling the heat from where they were standing, and with everyone in awe, and Katsuki thinking to herself, wow, that's strong. And since Katsuki is a girl and Deku has a quirk in this what if, the two of them are actually good friends, as they live quite close to each other, and that their mothers are good friends, and sorry, I just, retarded. I go retarded every once in a while. They're good friends. They get along quite well, seeing as, they get along really well since they see each other a lot because of their mothers. They compete a lot, though, with their awesome, powerful quirks. They were usually the top two of the class with everything. In fact, they both wanted to become the number one hero, both of them looking at All Might as their role model. They look up to All Might as their role model. In order to do that, to be the number one hero, they need to train and spar a lot together. One day, both of them agreed to use their quirks to fight. Their mothers telling them to go easy on each other. And the two of them go to Deku's back garden. Now let's say that Deku and Katsuki are both around 7 at this point in time. With both their mothers in the living room and chatting and keeping an eye on the two of them whilst they fight, with Mitsuki giving a countdown to the both of them. Deku preparing his quirk in his hands to throw, and Katsuki readying her position as well. And I'm also going to say that Deku is a superior fighter and has better control and a stronger quirk than Katsuki. Her not really having a chance, and the two of them ready. Then Mitsuki gives the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. The two of them rushing at each other, Deku hesitating with his movement, then throwing his fire at Katsuki. Luckily, she knows she is faster and more agile than Deku, her dodging the waves of fire from Deku, and returning Deku with just as much firepower, but out of explosions. At Deku, Izuku throwing up a small firewall, seeing as he hasn't mastered their technique. Explosions are off and fire, clashing and dispersing each other, making a bang. Katsuki rushing forward whilst Deku is kind of stunned since the bang made a flash that made him unable to see, but Deku could still just about hear Katsuki's footsteps, and him igniting his body in his flames, accidentally igniting Katsuki's nitroglycerin sweat, making a huge explosion, with Inko and Mitsuki rushing out to check on both of them, unconscious, with Mitsuki and Inko rushing to the hospital to get them checked, and luckily finding, and hopefully, the two of them are okay. Let's say around 2 hours have passed and Deku finally regains consciousness, wiping his eyes to see Inko and Mitsuki on chairs either side of him, but Mitsuki facing away to Katsuki in the hospital bed next to himself. Inko noticing Deku's awake and hugging him, asking him if he's okay, if he's hurt anywhere, worried for Izuku. Him replying he feels fine, just drained with a little bit of a headache. Inko leaves, and soon after, Katsuki regaining consciousness and coming to her senses. As well, Mitsuki asking if she's, alright. Her replying that she feels fine. The doctor coming in to check on the two of them. And the doctor asking if they feel okay. And they both in sync say and Deku asks what happened to the two of them. The doctor replying, the young lady sweats nitroglycerin and can ignite it to create explosions, correct? Then replying yes, the young boy has a fire quirk, or cremation, as it says here in the files, correct? Yes, they reply. Well, you two were fighting or sparring, I heard from your mothers. The two of them replying, yes, well, the two of your quirks reacted badly together, as Suzuku's quirk ignited all the nitroglycerin on Katsuki, creating a massive explosion. The force knocking the two of you unconscious. So that's your answer. The two of them shocked, as well as Inko and Mitsuki, in shock of the two, and how that's the answer. The doctor instructing to be more careful in training, or using their quirks in general. The two of them saying, okay, and their mother scolding the two of them for making them worry. The doctor soon tells them they are free to leave now, they just have to sign off on the clipboard. And so they did, the four of them walking out together, Katsuki and Deku looking at each other and saying in sync, ultimate move number 1. Inko and Mitsuki laughing at the two of them as they head back to Deku's house, and Mitsuki saying they should get going, but Deku and Katsuki asked if they can have a sleepover. Inko and Mitsuki, thinking about it, agreed, with Mitsuki leaving down the block to her house. As the two of them run up to Deku's room, and Katsuki asks if they should watch some movies, Deku agreeing, but they couldn't decide what to watch, so they did the only normal choice: rock, paper, scissors, with Katsuki picking paper and Deku rock, with Katsuki deciding on a romance movie, Deku wondering why, as the two of them sit next to each other leaning on Deku's bed. As it's around, 10:30 at night, the two of them slowly drift to sleep. Waking up the next morning, Deku feels some weight on his shoulder, looking over to see Katsuki sleeping on his shoulders. Since that it was the weekend, the two of them were supposed to train today, but decided to give Katsuki an extra 30 minutes before waking her up. As she slowly woke up, she gave Deku a kiss on the cheek, smiled, and left, leaving Deku in shock, trying to think of what just happened, and snapped out of it. Getting dressed, and since Katsuki wasn't ready, or there yet, Deku went on a walk to a beach that he had walked past before with his mother, and thinking to himself that Katsuki and himself could train there. He decided to tell Katsuki about it when he had gotten back, telling Katsuki he has a place for them to train, because even though they can train in their gardens, they need more room for their destructive quirks. Katsuki agreeing, and that we should go down there, but first they should ask their parents. And so they do, and Inko and Mitsuki say that's fine, since it's not all too far from Inko's house, and that the two of them are quite responsible and they trust them. So they started to head down to the beach, and Katsuki seeing it for the first time and in awe of how much rubbish there is, asking Deku, it's full of trash, what are we going to do? And Deku answering her question with, well, we're going to clean up the majority of it for our room to train, but not all of it, because then people will start to come back, and it'll be best if we're alone to train. Katsuki agreeing. When the two of them start to work, Deku throwing waves of blue flames, and Katsuki waves of explosions. Time skip, 6 months. The majority of the beach would be clean at this time, giving the two of them room to train, both of them around 8 to 9 years old. The two of them sparring and training together, Deku feeling as if they aren't improving their quirks all too much, and Deku stopping in the middle of their training and bringing it up with Katsuki. Her agreeing, saying she feels like she's gaining combat skills, but isn't improving on her quirk. The two of them walking back home, and Katsuki running up behind Deku and latching her arms around Deku, him allowing it as Katsuki snuggles up to him on their way home, dropping her off at her house and heading to his house, and instantly running up to his room, hopping on his computer and doing research on ways of training fire quirks. not finding anything for around half an hour. He needs to sleep, he's tired, painful day, struggles for a 9-year-old, it'd be like that. He lays in bed, thinking, of how he can, train, his quirk and Katsuki's. Thinking, well, Katsuki needs sweat for her quirk to work. She has trouble with how much sweat she can produce, and I need more resistance to fire for me to use my fire quirk at full strength. Now, Deku can use the majority of his firepower, but when he tries to use all of it at full strength, his cremation, it burns his skin and leaves it with some scars. He's done it once before, but they're very minor, and they're only at around his shoulder area, so you don't really see it if he's wearing like a shirt or have sleeves rolled up, but not all the way at least. And the next day, Deku wakes up with an idea. He runs downstairs, puts on the kettle, and waits a few minutes for the kettle to boil, grabbing the kettle and pouring it on his arm. Now, since Deku already had a very resistant body and can handle a lot of fire already, it hurt a little bit, it stung a little bit, but it wasn't anything terrible like Todoroki's scar or Dabi's scar. It's just like a little red, like sunburn. And Deku's realising that this is a way to train his body, and runs down to Katsuki's house, telling her to come over, asking why, and him just trust me, her following after getting dressed. And they head down to Deku's house, Deku asking Inko if borrows some money to go down to a shop. Inko saying sure, but decides to go with them since she needs to pick up some stuff for herself anyway. Groceries. Mitsuki asking for some stuff to be picked up too. So they walk down to the shop, and Deku instantly runs in with Katsuki following behind. After a good 5, maybe 10 minutes, Zuko finds what he needs. Ghost peppers, oh my god. Katsuki asking, what are those? And why are we getting them? Deku saying, trust me, buying 3 of them, and paying for them, and heading down to the beach, where Deku takes off his shirt and rolls up his joggers. He's wearing joggers. Stupid idiot, man. Heading into the ocean and activating his quirk, boiling the water surrounding him, with Katsuki laughing as Deku's now got his joggers soggy and wet, saying he's an idiot for doing that, and Deku saying, just watch. With Katsuki getting impatient and asking what the ghost peppers are for, Deku shouting from far away to eat them, and Katsuki just, why? Deku says, trust me, do it. And she does. She opens all 3 of them, each ghost pepper, and bites them all at once. Notices why Deku picked them up. Now, she is now in very much pain, lots of it, too much, and she is there sweating already after just taking her first bite. So, what happens next? Anyway, Katsuki learns what's special about the ghost peppers while she starts coughing as she swallows the rest of what's left of the ghost peppers. Now, these ghost peppers aren't just like hot, they've also got the seeds in, which makes them way worse. After around 15 minutes, Deku heads out of the ocean, his skin red, looking sunburnt at the very least. Katsuki laughing, having to stop herself because her mouth is, when it's open, it feels 10 times worse. Deku telling Katsuki he'll be right back, running off. Katsuki thinking, is he really going to leave me here while she's sweating like crazy? To bring the shopping bags back by herself after 5 minutes, Katsuki wondering where he is, then Deku arriving with a carton of milk and water. Deku telling her to drink up. Katsuki grabbing the milk and downing it. Deku telling her to slow down. And Katsuki soon realising why Deku told her to slow down, and instead now drinking the water. After that, Katsuki asks, why did you do that? That's like torture. And Deku just replies with, well, eating spicy food will help with, like, sweating more. And me in the ocean will, help me build more of a resistance to heat, fire. To heat, Katsuki realising Deku is quite smart. But Deku making her change her mind by saying, we're doing this again 2 to 3 times a week. Katsuki saying, this is hell, again, no way, not again. And him saying, well, we have to get more serious about it one way or another. If we're going to be the number one hero, better than All Might, we need to get more serious. Katsuki agreeing. And now, time skip. Last day of middle school. The teacher saying that they better sign and put what they want to be when they're older, then throwing all the papers in the air and laughing, saying, I'm joking. I know all of you want to be heroes. Also, everyone starts activating their goofy-ass quirks, man. Do you see that? You all saw that if you're watching this. That scene was just... Mans was pulling his eyes out. Another person... I don't even know, man, it's weird. But basically... Katsuki stands on the table and says that she and Deku will be the only ones to get into UA. Then Deku says, yeah, we're going to be the only ones to get into Class 1A. We're going to be the top of the class. And Bakugu... No. Sorry, I'm retarded again. Katsuki backs Deku up on that. When the two of them are walking back from school after the school day goes by really fast. And they are walking, home, and then Katsuki realises she left something at the school and runs back telling Deku to go on without her, she'll catch up. And then Deku gets into the, around the tunnel area where the slime villain would attack. And the slime villain got popped out of the sewer and was like, wow, there's a meat shield. Mind if I take your body? Whilst running towards the Deku, and then him activating his quirk, leaving with the force of the impact, forcing the slime villain splattered everywhere across the tunnel, with Deku All Might soon showing up, saying, I am here. That's my best impression, sorry. I'm tired. My voice hurts. And my first time doing one of these videos. Deku surprised, saying, All Might, what are you doing here? With All Might asking if Deku has seen a slime villain by chance. Deku pointing all around the tunnel where there's splats of gooey slime and scorch marks all over. All Might in shock, asking if Deku did this, him saying, well, yeah. All Might asking, what's your quirk? And him replying, it's Cremation. Said Deku is a fire quirk. Blue flames, said All Might, thinking to himself, this guy seems like a strong successor. But he doesn't have time to get the slime villain. He has to get the slime villain, with All Might smashing the rest of the slime into a ball, and closing the cap and jumping away. Anyway, this is the end of part 1. If a part 2 is wanted, it'll be up on Friday. If not, it'll be up on Saturday, because I say so. Anyway, have a good day. Don't die.